Hello, Spence. Is the music at a reasonable volume? Recorded 2 audio files. That is formidable. It is at a reasonable volume. Okay. I would put in my headset so that I didn't have it doubling through the speaker, but whenever I plug in my headset, it transfers from using this mic to using the mic on the headset, even though I didn't tell it to do that. Thanks, Mac. That's great. It's nice to see you again, Spence. How you feeling after your walk yesterday? Two more minutes. It was so lovely and so muddy. Yeah, I bet. So your shoes are probably wrecked, yeah? Okay, I think this is shuffled enough. This is like third day on my makeup. I think I got all of the eyeliner off. And my mascara keeps like shedding onto my lower lids, especially when I'm sleeping. All right. Let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, I will record 2 book reviews tomorrow, so that makes 4 audio files recorded for this week, which is good. But still, I'm thinking what else I could talk about as a writer. I'll come up with some concepts for you. I am interested in your process. My parents moved out there over the summer. The brush was so thick we never got to see what was in there. We confirmed it was a swamp. Anyway. Joyous time zones, my Sakonauts. I'm Sako Tumi, also known as the Witch of Tylwyth Teg, and today we're going to be talking about responsive sorcery in Condensed Chaos by Phil Heim. Damn it. Okay. How are we feeling about a grounding ritual today? Or maybe I should toss up the meditations, like grounding on Monday, and domain on Tuesday, elements on Wednesday, etc. Trying so hard to keep the separation between personal life and writing. Oh, absolutely. So many down trees, the boys were peeling moss off every other tree and putting it in their pockets. Looking forward to going mushrooming in the coming weeks. Yes? Yes, what? Totally. Yes. Grounding ritual? Question mark? Yes, for grounding. All right. Sit with your hands in your lap and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it for a moment. And as you let it out completely through your mouth, let go of the tension from the night and the grogginess of the morning. Take another deep breath in, and as you breathe in, imagine you are breathing in pure love. As you breathe out, imagine you are breathing out forgiveness. Take a third deep breath in, and as you do so, imagine a light coming in at the top of your head. It enters at the top of your head and spreads down over your face, neck, and shoulders. This cleansing light now expands along your back, down your legs, and out through your feet. It is as if cleansing light is a constant flow of soothing energy entering from your head and passing out through the arches of your feet. You are just outside the door of your astral temple. The air is crisp and cool. The evergreens sway slightly in the breeze, and the ground has a large patch of moss at your feet. Step barefoot onto the moss. Feel how soft it is. Feel the solid ground underneath. That light coming into your head can now be translated into energy that you can send out your feet. Convert the light into roots and send the roots out the bottoms of your feet and deep into the earth, as deep as you can. The soil is fresh, easy to toil, easy to carve a path down. Feel how anchored you are, how close to the earth. Reach as far down as you can. The earth hugs your roots comfortably, no matter how sharp or curly, no matter how many times they split off. Slowly pull the roots back up the way they came. Your roots slither through the dark, the soil filling in its wake. Pull the roots back into your feet, convert it back to the light, and let the light filter through you and out the top of your head. Take one more deep breath in and begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Welcome. If you're just joining us, we just did our morning grounding ritual. If you are interested in another meditation, I do have a link in the description below for a freebie for signing up for my newsletter, which I haven't written yet, so it's not like you're losing anything. But until then, you can join me for coffee in the mornings here on YouTube. I caught up on Savvy's stream. Such an interesting topic today. Cat is always a great talk. Good morning, friends. I made it just in time for the grounding ritual. Yay! Hi, Debbie. I'm glad you guys could make it. Let's do the card for today. I spent like 10 minutes shuffling this deck. The Eight of Wands reversed, which isn't great. Pentacles, Swords, Wands. In the morning, you'll be like, I gotta get on that one of these days. Yeah, I know, right? Maybe I'll do that today. Get on a stream and just work on my newsletter. Impatience grows as mounting delays prolong you from making any kind of action. The postponement is dampening your spirit, and you are irritated at the deficiency of the system at large. However, this may be a blessing in disguise. Your constant on-the-go attitude can cause you to make unforeseeable mistakes along the way, whether they have happened yet or not. Going 1,000,000 miles an hour can be frantic, and you could overlook some key details traveling at that speed. Practice patience and breathe. Slowing down and appreciating what you have can refuel your engine with much needed creativity and inspiration. Remember to enjoy the journey along the way, detours and pit stops included. Getting ahead of ourselves, maybe. I might not be that consistent with my YouTube videos because I never know what to say, but somehow I've managed to send a newsletter almost every month. Yeah, I love your newsletters. All right. Good morning, Raven. Head hates me. My card reading told me to shut the fuck up and be dignified about it. Oh. Today's card here decided to tell you to slow the fuck down. All right. We're starting to catch up to where I'm at in the book. So, let's see what's up. Responsive sorcery. To be effective, your approach to sorcery needs to be responsive to changes in your life situation. It can be best understood as not so much an approach to getting a free lunch out of the universe, but as an approach to maximizing your effectiveness within different spheres of action. For example, there is little point in enchanting for a new job if you lack the confidence to the extent that you are going to blow each interview that you work for. It is often said that magic seems to work through the easiest route possible, and this should be borne in mind. Finally, in this introduction to sorcery, I want to look at some popular areas for sorcery intervention. Ooh, isn't that always fun? If I go any slower, I'll be going backwards. I could get out and run faster than this. Oh. Interesting poll today. I have been trying to take things slow, but life happens so fast around me. It's hard to remind yourself it's not that deep, but it's important to do so. Yeah. Protection. Protection spells are popular, but what exactly does protection mean? Protection from earthquakes, mugging, meteor strikes, or what? Does protection mean safety? All questions of safety are relative. Where do you desire protection? Is it that you are clumsy, or that you don't look where you're going? If this is the case, use techniques which drag your attention to what's around you at any one moment. Cultivate the danger alert sense I discussed in Chapter 3. There is also the issue of protection against magical attack, to which some people become concerned to an obsessive degree. Well, don't worry about it, because there isn't any. 99% of magical attack is self-inflicted, and no effective magician with an eye to his street cred will ever admit to being magically attacked and not doing something about it at the time. Usually people who go on about magical attack are covering up some glaring inadequacy. Oh, tripping over my tongue today. Within themselves, and also suffering from an overinflated sense of importance. Again, having a finely tuned warning sense is of more use here, as is being able to keep one's feet on the ground, as it were. The card definitely told me that 2 recordings is more than enough. Yeah. Take it easy. It's all right. Love and getting laid magic. Finding a partner, soulmate, or one night stand via magic means is extremely popular, and the ability to bring lovers together or cause them to fly apart as part of a sorcerer's repertoire of powers goes some way to explaining how both can be subjects of respect and fear simultaneously. There are many shades of love magic. Me personally, I lump love magic in with death magic as mind control spells, and that's a big no-no in my code of ethics, but to each their own. At a basic level, it does help if you are observant, have skills in reading all the subtle signs of nonverbal communication, and know when to speak and when to keep silent. Love magic is very much about working with other people. It is also important to be able to clearly distinguish between sexual impulse and a relationship. That is, are you enchanting to make a link between yourself and the target person from the basis of a quick knee trembler or the possibility of a long-term relationship? It's surprising how many people confuse the two. It should be recognized that often our desires about what constitutes as an ideal lover are usually contextual and very often differ from our actual needs. In my experience, casting love magic spells with a particular person in mind never works out satisfactorily. I have personally found it more effective to enchant for the lover I need rather than the lover I want. I do find it slightly odd that in Western approaches to magic, love spells are thought to be fairly innocuous, while cursing magic is generally held to be reprehensible. Has no one ever thought how much of a curse becoming involved with another person can be? If you are ever tempted to interfere in the drama of someone else's relationship troubles, do bear this in mind. Duh. Before you wade in, wand blazing, to magically influence the relationship, think how you would feel if you found out that someone had done the same with you. Although you can influence people into dropping their trousers and knickers for you, it is generally more effective in the long term to work on your own powers of seduction and attraction. Agreed. Sex is magical and can be made more so, but if you are short, spotty Herbert with the charisma of a brick, then all the spells in the world are not going to make a Playboy model's fun over at your feet. Unless you perhaps enchant for wealth and have major plastic surgery or discover some other quality or aspect which you can enhance towards this eventual goal. By which time, like as not, sex will not seem quite so much an imperative as it once did. Issues of love and sex are particularly important for magicians, as in dealing with them, at some point, we have to acknowledge the presence and complexity of other people. I need to do things. Yes. Wow, you must have a long tongue. Reminds me of cartoon versions of Do Your Ears Hang Low and they're jumping rope with their ears. I think that video, it could be SpongeBob. Also true about the attacks. Having a problem with someone doesn't mean all of a sudden they'll send you a hex or something. It's self-importance. Indeed. But don't discount it if it's, actually happening. Hiya, Allie. Trying to love potion someone for your own satisfaction will never work the way they want. Indeed. So it's small print. It is. But I vote that you glamour yourself and make yourself more attractive, make yourself more charismatic to attract love, rather than try and control the other person into doing the things. It speaks volumes that virtually every folktale about love potions ends in tears, blood, and often horrifying death. Yes! It's pretty terrible. Healing. Healing is, again, a difficult area. It is an area that demands results, and approaches to magical healing tend to be fairly methodical and common sense. It is interesting to note that such down-to-earth techniques and methodologies tend to have been squeezed out from the main body of Western occultism into areas such as witchcraft or spiritualism, where participants are not afraid to come down off their astral plane and do something practical. We do have background music today. Is that okay? Low volume. Yeah. Should I turn it up? Sure. Like, I think it's at a reasonable volume, but I can't tell from this end because I don't have like Okay. Despite the gross industry and New Age spawned healers, the use of magical techniques in healing is an area which requires much work and investigation. Sorry, I read the same line twice. I saw! It looks so good! I think I saw it on Instagram. It looks great. Yeah, you did. If you are interested in this area, forget past life regressions, diagnosing auras, chakra massage, and all that other exotic stuff, and just go for a simple client gets better result. There is an example of a servitor for healing in the next chapter, and it's worth bearing in mind if you become an accomplished healer, then people do sit up and take notice. Developing a healer persona can be useful, both for projecting a certain ambiance for your maintaining a professional distance between yourself and your clients. See ego magic. The desire to be a healer must also be rigorously analyzed from time to time. The desire to heal can become obsessive to the point where you are more interested in preserving your self-image as a healer than the actual needs of your clients. And I know a couple of very empathic healer type of witches that maybe need to hear that. Cursing. Offensive or aggressive magic is one of those areas which, while controversial, nonetheless requires looking at. And because I do curses, I'm considered gray. So I do good magics, sure, but I do dark magics too. A common reaction to cursing is to say that it is wrong, unethical, or incurs karmic consequences. These arguments neatly ignore the fact that curse magic is one of the most ancient lineage, and often appears that in its most sophisticated forms in tribal and shamanic societies. Historically, curses are thrown when recourse to other forms of retaliation are not possible. If standing up to being oppressed gets you a rifle butt in the face, then magical action might well be the only option left. It is difficult to talk about ethics and karma with someone who keeps kicking you. Again, magic is about taking responsibility for your actions. So if you have to curse someone, be aware that A, it is the most appropriate course of action, B, you can handle any consequences, and C, you get the result you want. Remember that life situations are always going to be much more complex than any white magic, black magic dichotomies, hence the chaos emphasis on developing your own guidelines. Is it a curse if you cause a multiple rapist to become increasingly clumsy in his activities so that eventually he is exposed and identified? Is it unethical to perform a requiem mass in absentia for a friend with terminal cancer who has clearly expressed to you his wish to die? And then we'll talk about wealth and fame. But, well, hold on. The past life regression thing, everybody was Cleopatra or Caesar or such. I know, right? This little crock of shit is what it is. Even in writing community, I learned this the hard way. Keep a strong separation. Lesson learned. Wow. Not gonna lie, it's kind of the way it is. So I'm gonna note that I will set traps for people who want to cause me harm these days. Like that's kind of the goal of this guy here. And I have a spell bottle in the front yard as well. That curse people who want to cause me harm that enter my home. And if I have to retaliate from someone who has harmed me in some way or promises to harm me in some way, then I will bind them before I will curse them. Binding is the best way of going about things because it makes it so that they do not harm others and do not harm themselves. It just puts them in stasis, as it were, when it comes to terrible thoughts like that. I need a co-host for tomorrow. I want to do a writing stream, but too scared to do it alone. About 7 to 8 a.m. U.S. time. I can't do that. But that's a little too early for me. Twin glamours. Wealth and fame. Also, Doll is streaming at 8. If I'm up at a reasonable hour, if I'm up before 8 a.m., which lately I have been, maybe I can join you, Doll. I really enjoy you in the chats. I'm stoked to check out your videos after this. Right on. The first bit of magic I learned was the empathic healing kind. It brings a lot of lost and broken people to my door, and so many lost animals crossing my path. Yeah. I want to do it before my daughter comes home at 10 a.m. When are you intending on doing this stream? Join if it's not at the very same time I'm doing mine. Yeah. Wealth tends to be a condition which is one aspires to, or a condition which has been to varying degrees attained. Are you only doing your stream for an hour long? The first personal stuff I did was learned how to repel those who didn't want to heal. No more moths and flame. Oh, good. Taking care of yourself. You can't fix everybody. I'm gonna need 7:30 to wake up, and then maybe Doll will let me co-host with her. Tag it as Europe-friendly writing sprints. Yeah. Thus, one may look at life and say, I have wealth, or I wish I was wealthy. Before we go much further, the question of what do we mean by wealth should be dealt with. Dictionary definitions of wealth go along the lines of abundance of material resources. However, money is only one aspect of wealth magic. It is not merely about accumulating money and consumer goods. Desires can be deceptive. Yeah, it was right after 2 back-to-back. This could have killed me situations. Yeah. Gotta watch out for number 1. Put the mask on yourself before you help other people, man. Before looking at the desire for wealth, let's take a look at some other manifestations of desire. Sex is a good place to start. There is a tendency to behave as though sexual desire is simple, a knee-jerk stimulus, a foire response. Okay, which sets the heart a-pounding and hormones racing around. Desire falls upon us, immediately and physically. It can be anything from a wistful glance in someone's direction to a palpable shock which leaves you gasping for breath. Do you mean a photo for the thumbnail? Goodness. Yet, as we all in our introspective moments know, sexual desire is very complex, very powerful, and subject to change when least expected. Just when we think we are safe. Yeah, just when we think we are safe. A gay man suddenly finds himself wanting a woman. A straight man realizes to his horror that he finds himself unable to take his eyes off the boy next door. Sexual desire can be dangerous, and much depends on how the ego survives such transitions. Fame is another good one to examine, particularly so for me, as without appearing prideful, I know that I have over the years attained a small degree of acclaim, a certain reputation, and albeit within a small subculture, a degree of recognition. Now, fame has much in common with wealth. It is something which you have either attained or you aspire to, in the sense of thinking, look, so-and-so, I wish I was famous. Now, although it is entirely possible that somewhere back in the days of my neophytehood, I may have performed an enchantment to bring fame. But as far as I know, I did at no time say to myself, by doing this, I will become famous, or I want to become a name on the occult scene. It might seem ingenuous, but I did not realize for a long time that I was beginning to gain a reputation of sorts. What did I do? Firstly, I began to write. I began to write because I wanted to get occult magazines and could not afford the subscription fee. I was encouraged to write. All occult magazine editors are on the lookout for new writers. My high priestess encouraged me to write. I found that writing was an excellent way of ordering my thoughts. I began to enjoy writing. After all, who doesn't get a thrill from seeing their name in a magazine? It is even more satisfying to receive payment for writing. The biggest one was one of the guys invited me to party in the sticks. I wanted to go, but when I opened my mouth to say, yeah, give me 10 minutes, I said, no, I have physics homework. Wow. He ended up flipping his car to the various bodies of water next to the road here and spent a week in the hospital. Holy shit. Danger sense indeed. Holy crap. Let's see, where was I? Secondly, I began to speak in public. The reasons why I did this are more complex. I was crap at presenting myself to people, and as I was doing a course which necessitated that I present myself to people, I deliberately put myself in a position where I had to present myself to an audience. I became the student representative for my course, which meant that I had to deal with the student union council, the lecturers, and the academic board. Slowly, I began to adjust to these demands, and even more slowly, I began to enjoy it. From lectures, I jumped to doing courses and workshops, and finally began to appreciate the skills and techniques that I had been trained to utilize, albeit in the different setting. When you begin to raise your profile into public domain, you attract attention. I was genuinely shocked when someone said to me, "Well, you do have a reputation of being such and such." I was dismayed and angered when details of my private life became a matter of comment in certain magazines. At times, I would enjoy hearing rumors and strangers' opinions of me from another source, but for a long time I resisted. For a long time I resisted. Even hated the suggestion that I was becoming a public figure on a small, incestuous occult scene. Their server just does not want to quit. But also, I was learning some important lessons, which I will come onto shortly. The problem I have with the idea of wealth magic is that it is too nebulous, too much of a long-term vision. Sexual desire is physical and immediate, but wealth and fame have a lot in common. I look into the window of a computer store, at least at the latest models, and wish I had the money to buy one, without having to save or do overtime. Similarly, I have looked with envy upon someone who is apparently popular, easy in company, and appears to attract the boys and girls whom I dare not speak to. Whether wealth and fame are glamours, they are desires which have power over us because we feel that we lack something. They remind us that we are not at ease with our present circumstances. Much has been written about the relationship between wealth magic and Jupiter, to which is attributed the quality of expansiveness. Yet it is impossible to be expansive if you feel at odds with yourself. Before you can become expansive, you have to have worked with the solar quality of confidence. I have found that a useful way to approach confidence is to identify it as a skill, the skill of being relaxed in the immediate presence. Relaxation, of course, is essential if you're going to present yourself to people. It is also the unacknowledged key to magical success. Yeah, I know, right? For reals. Relaxation, of course, is essential if you're going to present yourself to people. It is also acknowledged key to magical success. If you are relaxed, then you have freed yourself from the patterns of your past and ceased to project desires in the imminent future. Hi, Jenny. Lovely to see you, darling. I'm glad you could make it again today. If you are relaxed, then you see any situation as it is, and not how it ought or should be. Yet even this is not enough. Confidence requires a degree of self-love, which in turn requires self-awareness, particularly of your own nested desire complexes. Surface desires are often blinds thrown up by the ego to disguise something which cannot be admitted into awareness. I know, right? Such conflicts eventually become the magician's nemesis. A man might subliminate his desire for young flesh by becoming a scoutmaster, priest, or youth worker, but how long will that facade hold up? From the self-love of solar magic, we jump to the dynamics of love magic. Until you accept yourself, you will never be able to accept other people as independent beings, and so you will be continually disappointed when other people fail to act in the way that they ought to. Calling out my husband, right? I've been dealing a lot with stress and life slowing down should be around more. Right on. Maybe we can talk later just for, catching up times. Until you accept yourself. To be expansive to others, you have to learn how to interact with people successfully. You have to be attentive to others and aware, of course, of how they see you. What else is required? Mars, the magic of energy, drive, determination, discipline, cool-headedness. The poise of a sniper waiting for the right moment to fire. Also, thought magic, the way of planning, strategy, being able to examine a situation and working out plan A, plan B, and what I will do if things go awry. The ability to look at resources, whether they be material skills or contacts. Material skills or yeah, exactly. Material skills or contacts. And then there is death magic. I have a plan. It is exciting. I can see how it could go very well, but after all the planning has been done, it looks more unfeasible. Do I go ahead anyway? Or have I the strength to kill it and do something else? Death magic is also the magic of boundaries, of self-imposed limitations, not forgetting sexual magic. In Kabbalah, sexuality is attributed to the sphere of Yesod, which is also the sphere of seduction, glamour, and illusion. Sex reminds us of our vulnerability, and we can all too easily become caught up in the desire for fast clothes, big cars, attractive partners, and four-poster beds. But if you need these things to feel sexy, then it's possible that something is going wrong. The roots of feeling attractive lie in self-love, and we're going back to ego magic again. If you desire wealth, don't dwell on it. There is an old axiom that if you are bound by something, you will never attain it. The unconscious, what Spare called the greatest magician, does not understand this concept. Each time you desire wealth, you are reminding yourself of the things which you lack. Similarly, those who go around declaring that they want to be famous will end up being a prat, which is not the kind of fame which is going to do you any good. Work in the other spheres of magic. If you are involved in a business or enterprise, do business magic, which is merely the application of the other rays into your work, learning about people, learning how to lead, how to manage, how to inspire, how to affect your will. Learn how to have doors open for you. Learn how to speak to the right people at the right time. Learn the subtle arts of impression management. A useful archetype in this respect is the emperor, prince, or mandarin. Read Machiavelli first for a start, and then examine the histories of great imperial figures. How does one act towards an emperor? With reverence, for insolence is courting death. An emperor likes flattery, but not obsequiousness. That is a hell of a word. An emperor has great power, but it is also aware of the responsibility which that power brings. Emperors are famed for their expansiveness. They must give the best gifts as their reputation is at stake. A successful emperor knows how to make use of his resources and knows how to generate respect in others. And respect is important. It is the basis of trust. Trust is not immediate. It must be earned. How must you act to win the respect of others? Find out and do it. Wealth is something which you either look forward to or have attained. In the Indian tradition, it is like wisdom, a siddha, which is to say an achievement, something that happens gradually. On the tantric path, all so-called magic powers are merely byproducts of one's passage through the world. Other people may well attribute those things to the magician before he himself realizes it. Ganesha is a useful deity. He brings wealth, but he is not attached to it or weighed down by the necessity of it. He is relaxed in the world. So how can we obtain a useful definition of wealth magic? I would say that wealth magic is the process of learning to recognize and enjoy one's immediate circumstances. That's profound. I would say that wealth magic is the process of learning to recognize and enjoy one's immediate circumstances. Feeling called out. Expansiveness is characterized as high spirits, generosity, and willingness to talk, all of which implies a sense of relaxation and immediate presence. The empty-handed gesture. The mark of an advanced sorcerer is the use of the so-called empty-handed gesture, which is acts of sorcery without the use of any physical props or formalized settings. Practice in visualization, a quiet confidence which falls just short of being arrogant, and the ability to free and establish desire from the ties of the ego complex are requisite skills, all of which are developed through more formal sorcery practice. The advanced sorcerer may only use a series of gestures and rely on visualization and make-believe to create the space he requires for magical action. A successful sorcerer need not be surrounded by icons of material wealth, but all the same tends to appear to be lucky or seemingly have a facility for being in the right place at the right time. The effective sorcerer pays attention to what happens in his life, noting the hidden patterns that run through the apparent chaos of everyday life, and acknowledging the intrusion of fortuitous coincidence into his life. While he may claim a high success rate, the chances are that he is selective about what he chooses to enchant for. And then Wednesday, we will talk about evocation and servitors. Trust is a frail thing. It's very fragile. And that's subjective as well. Some people trust too easily. Trust must be earned. And trust can be shattered at the drop of a hat. But, and Spence is an excellent example of this. Is it easy? Or is it that the people that you choose just expose themselves in such a way? I think respect is subjective as well. That whole, like, we should respect each other's opinions and stuff like that. And I cannot respect anyone who supported Trump. I can't. Precisely. So you have this knack for attracting people with no self-respect. So maybe you could learn something from Spence and just be able to detect that before it affects you. Apparently, yeah. I would like to think that I respect myself. Respect is a dynamic thing, which I personally don't value too much because it lends me to become very judgmental very quickly. Ooh. I think being able to protect yourself from the people that would harm you or that would put you at risk is a very valuable skill. Someone came on my art stream, the Help Mom stream that I did on the 6th. Someone came on and tried to, like, say that certain people that were in my chat were toxic people, which seemed like bullshit to me. And I talked to one of the targets, and she was like, I have no idea who that person is. Or people who simply never value you in the first place. Yeah. For me, respect others' opinions means to respect the fact that they have a right to their opinion. I won't be able to change their opinion or even agree with them, which is my right. I want to see the rest of this quote. Respect, admiration. Let's see. Their right is just as valid as mine. I will not associate with them if we cannot come to a common ground. Yeah. Respect, admiration, affection, and even love are far too interconnected. Are they? I love my husband, I do, but I don't trust him. I'm affectionate towards them. I admire him for a lot of reasons, but I don't trust him. There are many people I love for whom I have no respect or trust. And that's dangerous activity as it is, right? It's dangerous as it is. If you liked this video at any point, please hit the like button. And if you would like to talk about servitors on Wednesday, then please swing by then. Wow, I feel super weird now. There was someone I admired as an artist, but as a person, off. I no longer respect and I no longer trust. I don't think I can love someone I don't respect and trust. You have better standards than many of us. I'm the same boat, Raven, but each love differently. Too many people who treat respect on unequal terms. They demand respect as an authority and dole out their respect as a person. You are not finicky. You have standards. There are certain thresholds that people have to cross in order to get to your heart. And there is nothing wrong with that. I don't think you're being finicky. In the end, I place very little weight in the value of love and respect. Love is far too easy and respect is far too fragile. That's something I have to think about. So, I'm at time. I will talk to you guys on Wednesday about servitors, and I might go into egregores and tulpas and all of that jazz as well, which may or may not be in this book, but I do have notes in my Book of Mirrors. So, talk about evocation in general. Thank you for joining me today, and I will talk to you guys on the flip side.